square a number. So like we squared 5 and we got 25. We squared 1 and we got 1. We squared 10 and we got 100. We squared 4 and we got 16. And then we squared 3 and we got 9. The answers that we got, those have a special name, okay? All of those are called perfect squares. All of those are called perfect squares. Make sure you write that down. All of those are called perfect squares. And we kind of mentioned this the other day when we talked about why we call it squares, we call it cubes. Why do you think they're called perfect squares, you guys? What was the reason we talked about the other day? Why we use squares? Squares is what kind of figure, you guys? Cube is a three-dimensional figure, right? So that's where that cube and square comes from. But we are going to start practicing. We're going to look at why this 25 and 5 go together, okay? So I'm going to use this grid paper. You guys can just draw it as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? I'm going to take one square, okay? And each of these little squares is a unit square. That's what we're going to call it. One of these is a unit square, okay? We're going to take this one square. We said it was 1 times 1 and it equals 1, right? Can you guys tell me out of this list which part's the perfect square? The 1. The value is your perfect square. Okay? What about 2 squared? We said 2 squared was, how would we write that expansion? 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. Which part's my perfect square number? Which one? The 4. That is my perfect square. So our perfect square is the answer we get when we square a number. Okay? When we have an exponent of 2. Now the reason I'm using this grid paper, you guys, is I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to draw a square if it'll let me. Maybe. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to draw a square. Okay? How long is this side? How many units is that? We said each of these is a 1 unit square, so this is 1 unit. This is 1 unit. Do you guys remember how to find the area of a square? You guys remember what area is? Area is the inside part. Okay? It's how many of those little tiny squares make up this. So how many squares are inside of this? How many did we use in there? There's just 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to draw a square, and instead of it being 1 unit long, it's going to be 2 units long, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Why did I have to make all those sides the same length? What do we know about squares? What do you know about the sides of all squares? You guys know this. They're all equal. So if one side of a square is 2, then all the other sides have to be 2, right? So how many little lines make up that square? We've got 2 here, 2 here. How many little squares are on the inside? 4. Okay. Let's see if we can do 3 squared. What is 3 squared expanded form? 3 times 3. Okay. And what is 3 times 3? 9. All right. And 9 is our our perfect square. Okay? 9 is our perfect square. So let's draw 9 as a square, okay? How long should the sides be? Whoa, what happened? Right here. How long should the sides be, you guys? These were 2. These were 1. So what do you think the size of this one is? 3. So let's do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3 down, 3 across. How many little squares are on the inside? There's 9 on the inside, right? So what are you guys noticing as we're drawing this? The number that we're squaring, so the base of our exponent right here, okay? The base tells us how long the sides of our square should be. Okay, that's what the base tells me. And when I actually do 3 times 3 or 2 times 2 or 1 times 1, the answer that I get, which is my perfect square, tells me the number of little squares that are on the inside. It tells me the area of my base, okay? So the reason they're little squares, guys, is because we can take that many of these little tiny squares and put them together to make a bigger square, okay? What if we had, say I had the number 10, okay? Let's say I had number 10. Can you guys use 10 of these little squares to make a bigger square? Can you put 10 of those together to make a bigger square? How long does the size be? How long does the size be? Can we put 10 of these little squares together to make a square? So say I've got, let me draw one of these. So I've got this one. I'm going to draw 10 of these. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See if I can move this. There's that one. How long am I going to draw? I think I should go. I've got 10 to work with. We got 4 across. Okay. So if it's going to be a square, if I'm 4 across, then how many down do I need to do? 4. So I've already got one here. So we'll move this one up. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we're going to have to go here. It didn't work, did it? What do you think? You think 2 across? Okay, let's try. So we've got 2, so that's 2 across, 2 down, 2 across, 2 down. So we didn't use all of them then, did we? So 4 was not enough. 2, we have too many squares. Do we have any other ideas? Try 3. Okay. So we have 3 across. We also have to do 3 down. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? That's one number. You think there's any way we're going to get it? There's not, you guys. And you know why? Any number that we can multiply. So you've got 1 multiplied by itself, got 1, 2 multiplied times itself, got 4. 3 multiplied times itself, got 9. Is there any number multiplied by itself? There's not. So again, it's not a perfect square. Because there's one number we multiply by itself, okay? And as you guys saw right here, we can't use 10 unit squares to make a square. We're either going to have something left over or we're not going to have enough. Okay? 10 is pretty close to which our square. 10 is pretty close to 9. Can you tell me what the next square might be? We keep going down the list. So 1, 1, 1, 4, 2, 2, 9, 3, 3. Now we're going to figure out the next square. We're going to do 4 times 4 is 16. That's our next square. Okay. Can you tell me how the next square? How do we figure out the next square? What do you do? Yeah. So the next square we're going to do 5 squares. Which is 5 by 5, which is what? 25. Right? Now we're going to figure out the next square. And we're going to do 6 squares. Which is what? 36. Okay. So to figure out the perfect square, you guys, you're going to take your base, your square, your multiply times your answer. Answer your square. That's not square with. do this. What we're going to do, you're going to work on drawing some of this. Right? Your assignment. You have this. We may not be able to get to it on Tammy today if Tammy is there. But you have this, okay? You've got the report on the front. It says square roots activity sheet. What this tells you, it says the number of tiles or the area of the square. If we're talking about the area of the square, you guys, which is the number of squares in here, we're talking about the perfect square. So when you get this where it says number of tiles or the area of the square, I want you to write perfect square above. Then it says dimensions of number of tiles. What are dimensions? When you talk about dimensions of something, what are you talking about? You guys know? Like if I say the dimensions of a picture are a 5 by 7, that means it's 5 inches wide by 7 inches long. It's talking about its length and width. So when I say dimensions, I'm talking about the length and width, okay? So the dimensions of the square here are 4 by 4, right? Which is what we wrote down. The dimensions of this square is 3 long by 3 wide, which is what we wrote down, right? The dimensions of this one is 2 by 2, which is what we wrote down. So that is our dimension. Then it says the area, the square, and we're going to talk about, I want you guys to look at this, and I want you to look at your calculator, okay? So I want you to move, while I'm giving you this paper, I want you to put perfect square above that first column, okay, perfect square above the first column. So the perfect square is that first column. We're going to write that above there. square. That's our first column. And look, guys, they list 1 through what number? 1 through 400. Those are your perfect squares, 1 through 400. So does that list look as big as what you thought it might be? No, you guys, because think about it. 10 times 10 is 100, okay? Then we've got, 12 times 12, that's 144. So you add more every single time. So you're going to reach 400 pretty quickly. What? Today is November the 16th. Yes. Okay? So we said the dimension for the number of tiles. That's the number we're multiplying times itself, okay? So where it says we've got 1, 4, 9, they said 1 times 1, 1, right here. 2 times 2, 2, here. Okay? What do you think we should put in that second column for 9? 9 times 9. Not 9 times 9. 3 times 3, right? Because that's how we get 9. 3 times 3 is how we get 9. So I want you guys to type 9 in your calculator. Just hit a 9. And do you guys see, it's actually 2 buttons above the 9. Do you guys see the little button that looks like this? Yeah. That is called your square root. That's why it's called a square root activity. The square root is when you figure out what number is being multiplied times itself. So like if we hit 9 and we hit that square root button, what's it tell you? 3. That means we multiply 3 times 3 to get 9. I did not know that. Yeah. Try typing in 16 and hit that button. 4. What is 4 times 4? 16. It's telling you what number you're multiplying times itself. So when you're in this third column, you guys, on your sheet, on your assignment where it says square root of x, what's 1 times 1, you guys? Which is 1. You hit the square root of 1, what's it give you? 1. Okay, that's why they put a 1 here. Let's do the same thing for 4. When you hit that button, it tells you what? 2. 2. So that's where they get 2 times 2. And that tells you the 2 right there. For 3, we said, or for 9, we said it was 3 times 3, which is 3 is our square root. And over here, guys, this is where we're going to actually put what we put in that calculator, okay? Okay, let's do the 4. We said 16 was the same thing as what? 4 times 4. So what is the square root of 16? 4, and then we're going to put just like this. Okay, let's try the 5. What's the next number, our next perfect square after 16? The next perfect square is 25. Okay? So to figure out what number we multiply times itself to get 25, what is that going to be, you guys? The square root of 25 is 5. So 5 times 5, right here. Okay? What do you think for that next one? The next perfect square is 36, right? What number can we multiply times itself to get 36? 6 times 6. Very good. So the square root of 36 is 6. All right, you guys think you can fill in the rest of that chart? Yeah. All right. Now I want you to flip to the back, and I want you to look at what kind of paper you have on the back there. That's a lot of paper. You've got grid paper, okay? You've got grid paper. What I want you to do is you're going to, just like we did on here, just like we did with this grid paper, you're going to draw your perfect squares just like this, okay? You've got plenty of room to fit all these squares on here. But make sure you start at the top, and I want you to label it just like this. So for your first one, you're just going to have one little square, right? It's a 1 by 1, and it's just one square in the middle. Your second one, you're going to have 4 squares together, and each side should be 2. So you're going to draw them just like we did together. inside that square. Okay?
Got a lot of work to do, okay?
All right. You guys have any questions? So we can fill in that chart, okay, right? What about 49, guys? 49 is our next perfect square. What do we multiply together to get 49? 7 times 7, right? What is the square root of 49? 7. And that's what we're going to fill in right there. Okay? So any questions, you guys? So get your chart filled in. This right here, your perfect squares column, it tells you how many little squares should be on the inside. Okay? This tells you how long your side should be, right? Tells you how long your side should be. So go on and get started, guys. I'll be walking around to help you. Let me know if you have any questions.